Chief Mark Hartwig. Oh, hi. Chief Mark, thank you for giving the full context of Pierce.
Something massive has been unfolding behind palace walls, the kind of thing that doesn't explode all at once, but instead hums quietly, dangerously, until the moment it finally snaps. Insiders say this wasn't sudden, it wasn't impulsive. It was inevitable. Over the last fortnight, power inside the monarchy shifted in a way the public was never meant to see. King Charles, weakened and unwell, stepped back more than anyone realized, and in that silence, Prince William stepped forward, not ceremonially, operationally, fully. And once William took the wheel, everything changed, because when William moves, he doesn't hesitate, he doesn't bluff. And he doesn't forgive easily. The countdown didn't start with a press release or public outrage. It started quietly, behind closed doors, with paperwork, conversations, and one devastating realization. According to multiple sources who understand how royal decisions actually work, mechanism to strip Harry and Meghan of their titles has already been triggered. Not discussed, triggered. But what has everyone frozen isn't the process. It's the reason. Because this wasn't about popularity polls or political pressure. This didn't come from tabloids or social media storms. This started with something deeply personal, something dangerous, something that was never meant to be seen. An insider claims it began with an object no one expected to ever resurface again, a private diary belonging to Queen Elizabeth II. Not a memoir, not something prepared for history. A working diary, handwritten notes, raw thoughts, the kind of words a monarch writes when she cannot say them out loud. And according to those who have seen fragments of it, what's written inside is unforgivable. They said that you just don't, if you're no longer doing the job of being a royal, you don't get the police protection. The entries reportedly point to a bombshell incident tied directly to Meghan Markle, something the Queen herself flagged as a potential stain on the crown if it were ever proven. And at the same time, another name, one most people assumed had been erased from Meghan's life forever, was violently dragged back into the print. Trevor Angelin, Meghan's ex-husband. Sources say Trevor was quietly instructed to leave the UK within days of William's discovery. No announcement, no explanation, just a sudden exit that lit up diplomatic and media circles with speculation. Was he being protected or silenced? Or was he the missing piece to something far bigger than anyone had imagined? The palace refused to comment. Of course they did. Even more telling, Harry didn't go back to Montecito after his sudden emergency trip to Britain. Instead, he vanished into a modest lodging near Heathrow. No palace, no staff, no comfort. A prince without a palace, a husband without answers. So what is Meghan's secret, and why was it explosive enough to push Prince William to deliver a verdict with no mercy attached? Late afternoon in Montecito, the sun bleeds red across the Pacific, staining the sky like a warning. Harry sits alone in the study, windows thrown open, the ocean breeze slicing through the heat. He hasn't spoken all day. His phone buzzes again and again on the desk, face down, ignored. Then the doorbell rings. A delivery driver leaves a small, unmarked cardboard box on the porch. No return address. No logo. Just layers of brown tape wrapped so tightly it feels almost paranoid. Harry brings it inside. Cuts through the tape. Inside, a thick envelope. Beneath it, a sleek black USB wrapped in white tissue. His heart starts racing before he even touches it. He opens the envelope first. A photograph slides out. Meghan, in a long camel coat. Hair pulled into a tight bun, stepping out of automatic doors at a private Los Angeles hospital. At her side, Trevor Angelin. Not touching, not intimate, but close enough to speak. Then Harry sees the sign behind them. Women's Health and Reproductive Medicine, OB-GYN. In the corner of the photo, a timestamp. October 17th, 2017, exactly 2 weeks before Meghan announced her engagement to Prince Harry. He flips the photo over, black ink, handwritten. Meghan has been found out. Ask her where the baby really went. The room tilts. He tears open the second envelope. More photographs spill out. Same day, same place, different times. Meghan and Trevor entering and exiting the building 3 separate times. The last image steals his breath. Trevor holding a thick brown medical envelope, the kind clinics use for ultrasound prints and prenatal results. At the bottom of the box sits the USB. Harry plugs it into his MacBook. His hands shake so badly he misses the port the first time a single audio file appears. For H only, the recording crackles, leather chairs creak. Then a voice. Williams, not public, not polished, cold, exact, final. Titles are not a game. This ends before the 3rd anniversary of the Queen's passing. Harry and Meghan will be stripped of their ducal titles under the Royal Titles Act of 1917. No negotiation, no delay, no mercy. Harry freezes. His phone vibrates. Unknown number. UK code. He answers. Silence, then breathing, then a woman's voice. Ancient. Calm. Marble cold. Prince Harry. The process to remove the Duke and Duchess of Sussex titles has already begun. The Privy Council will take the final vote immediately after the 3rd anniversary memorial. If you wish to be present to defend your titles, you have exactly 46 hours. Who is this? Harry demands. The line goes dead. He stands there, minutes stretching into eternity. One thought smashing through his skull. William knew, and he chose the most devastating moment possible. Harry doesn't tell Meghan. He books a private jet. Emergency protocol. Gulfstream G650. Santa Barbara to London Farnborough. Triple payment. No delays. At 2:13 a.m. California time, while Meghan sleeps, the jet disappears into the black sky. Harry clutches the cardboard box like a live grenade. Only one question echoes in his mind. Who sent it?
It's minus 35 outside. You're wearing lots of very warm clothing, which makes you sweat, and the sweat drips down. And
well, they should have sent Prince Andrew then, shouldn't they? Yeah, really.
And then that then freezes, and that obviously caused frostbite to his nether regions.
Can we just please hope there's no...
You get royal gossip, you get biology, you get a lot with us.
Please, can there be no sequel to this book? I can't take it anymore.
And what does William know that made him pull the trigger now? Windsor Castle. Late autumn. Fog coils around the stone like something alive. William enters the Queen's private apartment, untouched since her passing. He's there for one item Catherine requested for the memorial. He opens the hidden safe. Letters, photos, and a dark green leather diary worn soft by time. A red thread marks a page. The Queen wanted him to read this. As William scans her handwriting, neat and unforgiving, his blood runs cold. She had written the truth while she still could, and now the burden of acting on it belonged to him. By the time Harry's jet touches down, the machinery is already moving. Harry hides near Heathrow. No royal symbols, no comfort. Messages from Meghan pile up. Confusion turns to rage. He doesn't answer. Then a burner phone buzzes. One word. Windsor. The meeting isn't grand. It's clinical. William doesn't stand, doesn't smile. You've seen the photos. Yes. You've heard the audio. Yes. Then we skip the pretending. Folders slide across the table. Medical logs. Travel paths. Affidavits. A case built long before today. I've been building this, Harry whispers. No, William says. I inherited it. The Queen asked me to wait. She hoped you'd come clean. What happens now? Harry asks. The titles go. Sussex is finished. And Meghan? That depends on what else comes out. The palace statement drops. Carefully worded. Devastating. Back in California, Meghan scrambles. Lawyers. PR. Victim narratives. But one question hangs unanswered. Where's Harry? She goes live. Tears. Trauma. Accusations. But no hospital. No dates. No Trevor. The public notices. Photograph leaks. Grainy. Old. Meghan in a hospital corridor. Harry watches the news alone. Smaller. Older. Armor gone. A message from his father. Handle this quietly. Don't let the children become collateral. The Privy Council votes. Clean. Final. William stands on the balcony as fog rolls in again. Across the ocean, Meghan paces, and near Heathrow, Harry finally understands the cost of choosing performance over truth. Because once the crown stops protecting you, there is nowhere left to hide. Only the reckoning. And this time, it isn't going away. The night after the decision felt unnaturally quiet, like the world was holding its breath. Harry sat in that narrow room near Heathrow, long after the television went dark, long after the headlines stopped updating. Silence pressed in on him, heavy and suffocating. Every sound felt louder than it should have been. The hum of the heater, the distant roar of planes cutting through the sky, reminders that life was still moving, while his had come to a violent halt. He thought about the first time he'd ever said her name out loud, how certain he'd been, How fiercely he defended her. He remembered the warnings too, the ones he brushed off as jealousy, tradition, cruelty. William's voice echoed in his head now, stripped of anger, stripped of emotion, just facts. Evidence. Timelines. Truths that no amount of love could rewrite. His phone buzzed again. Meghan, he didn't answer. Not because he didn't care, but because he finally understood something he'd been too afraid to face before. If he picked up, he would have to choose which version of reality to live in. And for the first time in years, he wasn't sure he could keep pretending. Across the ocean, Meghan paced barefoot across cold marble floors, the walls of Montecito closing in around her. Every screen told the same story, even when it didn't say her name. Review, constitutional concerns, royal precedent, words designed to sound neutral while cutting deep. She slammed her phone onto the couch, fury bubbling up beneath the fear. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. She had controlled the narrative before, always had. But this time, something felt different, colder, older, unmovable. Her advisors talked in circles, throwing out strategies like life rafts, lawsuits, interviews, claims of bias, claims of cruelty. But one thing none of them could answer haunted her more than anything else. Why wasn't Harry calling? Back in England, William stood alone once more in the Queen's apartment, the diary closed now, resting where it had been returned. He felt no triumph, no satisfaction, only the dull weight of responsibility pressing down on his chest. This wasn't revenge, it was maintenance. The kind no one ever applauds. He thought of his grandmother's handwriting, steady even near the end, and the quiet plea beneath her words. Protect the institution, even when it hurts. Especially when it hurts. King Charles watched from a distance, his face drawn, his silence deliberate. He had loved his son, still did, but love didn't erase consequence. And he knew, better than anyone, how fragile the crown truly was. One fracture left untreated could bring everything down. The memorial anniversary arrived under gray skies. No cameras inside, no leaks. Just ritual and restraint. The Privy Council's decision waited like a sealed envelope, already known but not yet spoken aloud. Harry didn't attend, not because he wasn't allowed, but because he couldn't bring himself to sit beneath the weight of it all. He walked instead. Streets he once knew. A city that felt both familiar and foreign. People passed him without recognition. For the first time in his life, he was invisible. When the announcement finally came, it was brief, clinical, effective immediately. Titles removed. No dramatics, no explanation. Just the end of something that had defined him since birth. In Montecito, Meghan read it alone. The words blurred together. Duke. Duchess. Removed. She stared at the screen, waiting for the rage to come. The defiance, the speech she would give. But beneath it all, a colder realization settled in. This wasn't a fight she could win with words. Harry sat on the edge of his bed again, head in his hands, the same position he'd been in days earlier, but changed in ways he couldn't yet name. He wasn't angry anymore. He wasn't even shocked. Just hollow. Stripped not only of a title, but of certainty. Because the hardest truth wasn't losing the crown. It was realizing that everything he'd sacrificed it for had been built on something fragile. And once it cracked, there was no way to put it back together.